Hey everyone, this is Noemi from Podcast Connections. And if you really want to how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine today with my great podcast host friend, Scott Ferguson, aka Fergie. Let's level up.
Are you ready to level up? Do you wish to live a life of options and not obligations? You've come to the right place. Thank you for stopping on by to hear knowledge nuggets from Coach Fergie and his top tier guest to help you lean into your ultimate human potential. Now, let's level up with Coach Fergie.
Hey, Time to Shine Today Podcast Varsity Squad. Welcome back to another powerful edition of Time to Shine Today Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Fergie. Blessed to be your gap coach, specializing in peak performance mental conditioning, working with business leaders, entrepreneurs, entertainers, athletes, C-suite, and students to help them bridge their success gap to live a life of options and not obligations. On this platform, we are stoked to bring you high performers who are not just chasing and attaining success, but redefine it through providing above and beyond service. And squad, really quick coaching knowledge nugget. Most people chase the big platforms right off the jump, but winners chase alignment. I see this all the time. People saying, if I can just get on that huge show, if I can just reach that massive audience, everything will change. But here's the truth. A big platform with the wrong audience is just loud confusion. A smaller platform with the right alignment is a business builder, a relationship builder, a momentum creator. In my coaching, we talk about this kind of same principle a lot. I have a mixed martial arts fighter I work with who's kept obsessing over bigger fights, tougher opponents, and getting the biggest names. He thought a bigger stage meant automatic greatness. But when we slowed it down and targeted the right competitions for his current level, where his style matched, where his preparation fit, where his mindset was ready, he started winning. Confidence stacked, identity grew, then the bigger stages came naturally, and now he's got a belt. He's a champion. So alignment first, expansion second. Same thing in business, same thing in podcasting, same thing in life. You don't force growth, you earn it through precision. So today we're talking about conversations that create real opportunity, not noise, not vanity, real alignment. And with that being said, I'm bringing on my awesome sauce, really awesome side. She's become a friend of mine from afar, Noemi, and it's an awesome spelling of her name. It's going to be in the show notes, but we're bringing on someone who lives at the intersection of connection, conversation, and opportunity. Noemi is the co-owner of Podcast Connections, a booking agency helping entrepreneurs and business owners get their voices heard on quality shows around the world. If you ever wondered how the right conversation can open the right door at the right time, she's in that business every single day. She blends deep online marketing experience going back to 2007 with a master's degree in Danish Literature and Language. So yes, we're talking strategy and storytelling in one brain. But here's what I love most. When she's not helping experts land powerful podcast conversations, she's creating hand-sewn collage art on canvas, playing hang and frame drums, and disappearing into long nature walks. Creative soul, strategic mind, and a connector of people. So, Noemi, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, I don't have a specific favorite color because I love all the colors. I wear red, I love blue, I love green. I have a very colorful personality. So
if you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube, she's a stunning woman. So every color's in her in her color wheel, right?
Thank you, Fergie.
You're very welcome, Noemi. And so you help people get booked on podcasts for a living. If your life had a podcast title right now, what would the name of that show be?
I do have a podcast and I love the title, so I can share that with you. It's called the Silent Thinking Podcast.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm going to put that in the show notes, squad, so make sure you go there. I'm ashamed that I don't know about this, so I want to get on it as well. So it's called the Silent, say that again?
Silent Thinking
Got it.
Podcast.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
Mostly solo episode, no interviews. It's basically an ASMR style reading podcast.
Oh.
So I read books so people can listen to it. And it relaxes your mind and body and you can fall asleep.
Love that. I love it. And do you read actual stories, or is this your own art that you've written, or like, what is it mainly?
No, mainly all of them are books that are written by my friends, and they gave me the permission to read the books. So they are current literature, new literature, and I love it because I love reading. I was always a bookworm, and it's just a great way to read aloud.
Noemi, this is awesome because I'm dropping my book this year. It's my first imposter syndrome. Oh my gosh. It's actually a hero's journey, a business parable of my life, actually. So I'd love to hear you. I'm going to have to commission you to do that. I love it. I love it. So let's get to the root of you, because you are very educated. You're a fantastic human being on this earth. But what got you started in? Because podcasting is still relatively new in a sense, right? I believe there's 3.7 million podcasts and over a billion blogs. So there's a huge gap there. And the 3.7 million, probably only maybe 400,000 are actual live podcasts and not zombie podcasts that sit there.
Yeah,
Right? So what made you really dig in to be a co-owner of the company in the podcasting arena?
That's a great question. I had nothing to do with podcasting
Right.
before 2020. It was completely accidental. As you mentioned in the wonderful introduction, that I became an entrepreneur in 2007, and I worked in the online travel industry. So I was more into social media marketing, online marketing, and because the pandemic happened in 2020, everything stopped, the whole world stopped, the travel industry collapsed from one day to another. And we had to pivot and start a new business venture, and that was Podcast Connections. And yeah, so I never listened to one single podcast before 2020.
Really? Before 2020? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. To be honest with you, I only listened to maybe the bigger ones, like Rogan, and you and I talked off mic about Entrepreneurs on Fire with John Lee Dumas, Pat Flynn, those OGs in the podcast, the original guys, right? In the podcasting. Because by the way, squad, it's podcastconnections.co. Don't go there yet, but it'll be in the show notes, because that's the way we can really kind of connect you with Noemi. But so let's get to how is the birth of Podcast Connections CO go? How did that happen?
It happened basically overnight. So we had a friend, a mentor from Ireland, because we lived in Ireland before with my husband. And he started basically a course on how to run a podcast booking agency. And that's what we did. We did the course. And then basically during one night, we just sat down, created the website. Okay, let's do this. We just learn as we go, because that was it. There's this quote that walking your path, but sometimes you're learning as you're walking, because you needed to go to pay the bills, to do everything. So yeah, we just started basically was it in April? I think April 2020. And we just launched the website, launched the business. And I started to reach out to entrepreneurs, mainly in the e-commerce space, and female entrepreneurs mainly in the US. And basically LinkedIn was my playing ground.
That's way back.
And that's how it all started.
Yeah, it's crazy, because I started my podcast December 19th of 2019. And again, I told you off mic, and a lot of my squad out there knows I started as a passion project, again, a selfish endeavor to meet people like you and other people to help me level up. And then I always say, I don't know if you ever heard about it, but this coronavirus thing happened, and people were wanting to devour my kind of, because I choose to be happy. That's just me. Unless there's a death, I'm going to smile, because I know everything's finite. Everything ends. You know what I'm saying? Good or bad, it's going to come to an end.
I feel the same way about life.
So it's good. So the podcast, and then blessed, thank you for donating Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Huge to me. My little brother killed himself. A lot of guys I served with in the military did, and they got it, and it caught fire, and just the donations and stuff like that. And that was what really put me over the edge. But you do help entrepreneurs, which you mentioned, get booked on podcasts every day. What do you think is the biggest lie people believe about podcast guesting? And what actually moves the needle when the mic turns on? So what's the biggest lie that you see out there going around about podcast guesting?
That's a brilliant question, Fergie. Yeah, that you will get thousands of clients after one or two interviews, because some people think, and I'm trying to explain to them that, okay, I'm going to get on these two podcasts, and then either I'm going to be famous, or I'm going to be rich and famous, and I'm going to have hundreds and thousands of clients. And I told them, if you are lucky, very lucky, it might happen, but it probably won't. So you have to be super clear about that. Podcast guesting is a marketing strategy like any other marketing strategies. And you have to work hard and being consistent and persistent with podcast guesting. Otherwise, there's no result. You just have to keep rinse and repeat the whole process and keep doing it.
What I have a huge pet peeve with guesters. Okay, now these PR reps are hitting me up every single day, and again, I'm blessed. I'm not mad about it. I'm just I want etiquette in podcast guesting, and what I mean by that is, I'll tell the story. I don't care. Like, I have people coming to me a lot saying, I'm perfect for your show. And I immediately send a message back real quick. Hey, man, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Which one of my episodes resonated the most with you? And a lot of times that really separates people because people will just say, I'm great for your show. But like I have one person, she's a really good friend of mine. She has a podcast. It's about sex. And so she'll have in the name of her podcast, I don't care, it's Two Wild Orchids, right? So she gets hit up all the time by these floral people, flower people saying, I'd be great for your show. It's like, people, if you want a guest out there, Noemi, please correct me, please listen to the show at least.
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
You are absolutely right. Like I had these podcast host friends in the e-commerce industry, in sales and marketing, and yoga instructors reached out to them to get on their show. Like they have no clue what the podcast is about. They're just shooting out, like whatever. I just want to get on a podcast. But that's what I tell also my clients. And when I'm guesting on podcasts, yes, please do listen to at least 1 or 2 episodes before you do the reach out. So you have a clear idea what the podcast is about. It's crucial.
And I'm not going to lie. If someone's, hey, I heard that interview with you and Noemi Beres, and she mentioned this, that's an ego thing for me. It's like they actually kind of listen, and I'm like, oh man. And then I'll look at their bio and be like, oh, okay, I'd love to have you on and love to do it. And I'm not, God, I sound like a douche today. Like I don't really reach out to people too much and ask them to come on the show, but I did you. Like I remember reaching out and then like she's doing on LinkedIn, she's doing things to help people do it the right way, which I'm like so blessed that I did. So podcast connection sits between opportunity and execution, right? So what separates the experts who explode or maybe even get really good traction after a podcast appearance from the ones who get booked on the show and then go nowhere?
Yes, I love that question. So it's all about connection. It's all about building relationship during and after the interview. Because so many people think that, okay, I get on this show and then, okay, next one, whatever. But it's all about networking. It's all about building relationships and adding value to each other's lives.
Oh my gosh,
So,
yes.
so what I do and advise to people, okay, so once they stop recording, next day you send a thank you note.
Thank
It
you.
doesn't
Yes.
necessarily need to be on the post or whatever. It can be an email. It can be anything. Just say thank you. Just 2 words. You don't need more. And then
It's going out in the mail. I was on a show and they get a handwritten note, everything. You're going to get, I don't know what postage is going to be to Cyprus, but you'll get one for coming on my show.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Yeah, and that's what we need. And also from the guests too. And the other thing which is so important to, and it's getting more and more popular right now, to do post-interview calls, chat with the podcast host. So you book 10, 15, 20 minutes call after the interview, which means that you can network with each other. You can figure out what the other person is doing, what kinds of projects they're working on, how you can help each other. And then you can be on each other's Facebook private groups or masterminds or anything. So this is I think it's just, the interview is just the start. It's just the beginning. The rest follows.
Squad, did you hear what she just said out there? Okay, like she's contact the host. 1, say thank you. 2, get on their schedule, whether it's a month, 2 months, 3 months from now, because they did carve the time for you to put you on, to put the shine on you. But C, don't go to them and see what more they can do for you. Maybe see how you can help them. Go and offer them your services. Can I find you a guest that's like me? Find you somebody that maybe I could get you on their show. Be of value, right, Noemi? Am I right in saying that? Follow up and build that connection.
Exactly. It's all about follow up. And it's just so important. And so many people miss that. And then they realize, like, why is podcast guesting not working for me? Because you didn't do anything after the interview. Right. So you didn't thank the host, they didn't follow up.
Right.
That's it. It's so easy.
I love it. Some people are getting pretty keen to that now, meaning they're starting to do that. I'm starting to get, and not that I need it or ask for it, but I'm starting to get these really cool gifts from my guests that come on. There's like this, it's funny, I just got it today from one of my guests, and she sent me this kind of military thing, but it's all full of like meat and cheeses and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's the coolest thing. But like, you don't have to do that, but it's nice to stay connected.
It's nice. And you always remember those people.
Oh my gosh.
I remember
Justine will always be in the back of my head. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what, I'm part of the Go Giver community. Shout out to, of course,
Bob
Bob
Berg.
Berg. Yes. And he always kept telling us, like, yeah, eat all these tiny things and people remember you. And when they need a podcast booking agent, they will remember, oh, she was the one. I'm going to refer her or ask her, because that's how you stay on people's mind.
So you studied Danish literature back in the day, right?
Yes.
And,
Yeah, correct.
and storytelling is obviously in your DNA. So in a world drowning in content, what makes a story cut through the noise and make the listener say, I need to work with this person. I need to meet this person. I need to network with this person. I need to help this person. What can you say in that?
It's all about being authentic. It's all about being authentic, being open, and being vulnerable. So once you get on a show and you share your story, so yeah, be open about it. Obviously, you don't have to share things you don't want to, because there we all have a private life. But the more vulnerable you are on a show, and the more authentic you appear, you are real. You are a real person with emotions, with feelings, with everything going on in your life. And you can share that with the audience, because once you do that, they align with you, they align with your message, and they can see the person behind the story. And that's what I've been trying to do on LinkedIn.
To see the what behind the story?
Sorry?
To see the what behind the story?
Feel the real person.
Yes, the authenticity.
The real human,
yes.
Not AI generated
yes.
stuff, but
like us.
That. Yeah.
I love it. I love AI. Do not get me wrong. I love it.
No, me too.
Right?
I use it every day. Of
it
course.
shortens my learning curve. Like I will put what I write for show notes in and have it dial it up. You know what I'm saying? It's like with that. And so I love it. I just don't want podcasts to go AI, meaning like what we're doing right now. We could literally have an interview right now by plugging a prompt into AI, and you and I would be talking. It wouldn't even be us. It's crazy.
True.
So this is real. I'm real. Right? So it's Noemi. So, you've been doing the like online marketing. It's funny. I started the online marketing in 2009, and like JV Zoo and ClickBank and stuff like that was like my thing,
old days.
Yes. And so I'm kind of OG in the affiliate marketing world.
We did that too.
And the thing is, I have my very first article I ever wrote. I put it on eZine. eZine was like the thing back in the day, right? It still ranks for ovarian cancer. I lost a friend to ovarian cancer, wrote an article about it, gave him a book about naturally healing like ovarian cysts when they're noticed. And I know it's weird being it's a female thing and stuff, but it's still selling almost 20 years ago. Like it still gets clicks.
Yeah.
Right. Which is crazy. So I know that you know a lot about this world, but if someone came to you saying, Noemi, I just want to get more exposure, what hard truth are you going to tell them? Like in that moment that, that maybe most booking agencies might not tell them?
That it's not going to happen overnight. Like nothing's going to happen overnight. It's like we were a professional athlete. You know how it is to train yourself, to go into the gym and to build up your muscles. It's the same with the podcast guesting muscles. It takes time. It takes months to do that. And when they ask me, so how long should I be working with you to get some results? And I tell them at least 6 months. And you keep doing these interviews, at least 2 to 3 interviews every single month. And then you can see the results. And then you need to repurpose the content, because it's not just about appearing on the podcast, but also repurposing the content, because nobody will remember what you posted 2 weeks ago on LinkedIn or on Instagram. So you can post it again and again, because you create evergreen content by podcast guesting. And it's just so beautiful that you can just use that content again and again in the future. But so many people don't do it. They post it once and that was it. But just use your content wisely. I've been working with so many podcast hosts. They will even give you the raw file, and you can just use it, cut it up into small video clips, audio clips, and just use it and share it. Because social media at the end of the day is about like, when people see you, they get to know you, they're going to buy from you.
And they want real now.
They want real.
If it's a clip like this,
human.
They're going to see a human.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why I hate social media. My coach hates me for hating social media. Like she is pushing hard for it. So I'm starting to really build it out and putting stuff out. And it's funny you said that, because I was on a podcast in 2021, and he was, I'm not going to say nobody, but he was like, oh man, can I get you on the show? And I felt honored. Okay, yeah, but now the kid is like top 0.05%.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
You
it.
never know. And the stuff that I repurposed for him, he never forgot. He flies me to Texas every year to speak to his company.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
repurposed everything he did. And he's like, I need you to come to Austin and talk to these people or coach up this side. But he remembered me, and he was a kid. And I remember he interviewed me in his car. I have it. I was sitting in a setting like this, felt professional and stuff, but it was just like the follow up, follow through, follow back. I mean, that's the rule.
Right.
Okay.
I love that. And I love how you started the conversation today, that everybody's wants to be on those big names, the big podcast. But it's not about them. It's about the celebrities. It's about the celebrity podcast hosts. It's not about, most of the time, it's not about the guests. And what you just said, that sometimes we get on smaller podcasts or mid-sized podcasts, and you never know where they end up. I've been working with hosts that we got on at the very beginning of their journey, and now they're famous at top in the 0.1%. And it's amazing. But you never know what's going to be out of 1, 10, 20 podcast interviews.
You don't. And I'm going to tell you this from experience, Noemi, is I told you my podcast opened doors to speaking for companies and stuff like that, just for my energy and whatever. But getting on shows and thinking you're going to get famous, that means your exposure is there. And you're like, people are eyes on you. And I'll tell you, there's not a human being that I know personally that will not have imposter syndrome in that moment. Because once, like, I remember I got invited to speak at a kind of a CEO, C-suite kind of thing. And I'm looking out there going, man, most of these people can spank me with their wallets. They make more money than me. And here I'm talking about mindset with money. And I was like, dude, like, it was too big of a moment for me. Luckily, Alan Stein was there, and I know him, and he's coached Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, Kevin Durant.
Yes.
He's Ferg, what's going on? I'm like, dude, like, what am I doing here? And he's, listen, like, what do you want from today? And Squad, if you're listening, this is great for podcast guesting. He asked me, what do you want from today? I'm like, I want one person out of here to walk away with value, right? And that's your intention. He goes, like, so many people lock their confidence to their abilities instead of locking their confidence to their intention. The second you lock to your intention, I went up there, rocked the stage. Next thing, who's my client now, billionaire. I've coached his company now since then. So again, it's about locking the confidence to your intention. But like you said, start growing slow.
Yes.
And start easing into it, right? That way the imposter syndrome stays at bay and you grow. And do you help people at Podcast Connections grow slowly if that's their true north of what they're doing?
Yes, because that was my blueprint as well. I didn't rush things. I love to take things as they come, small steps approach. I truly believe in it, because if you take those small steps every single day, but you repeat them, you will get there. And I really Gary Vee's content. And he talks about the same. It doesn't matter when you start. You can be 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever. I've been working with people, they are over 70, and they are amazing. And they rock on podcasts, and they're sharing their amazing knowledge and experience. And it's just so fun to see that it's never late to start, but and I also tell them, small steps approach, because that's how you get the results. Like, you have to put the work into that.
Inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? By the yard, it's hard. Everybody wants it now, but it's just like you said. It could be, you could just walk in and there's Rogan and he says, "Oh, I want you." That never happens, but it might happen. But don't roll the dice on it. The first podcast you've ever listened to that made you think, "Yup, this medium is powerful. Like, this podcasting is powerful." Do you remember the first one you listened to, and that? I know you say you really didn't listen to podcasts but you're like, wait a minute, dude, there's something here.
I think I was part of a networking group, and it was led by a great woman called Cami Lehman. And she had a podcast. She still has a podcast called She's Invincible. And I loved her style, and I loved the networking group she did for us. It was just a handful of people, but we really connected.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed her interviews because it was heart-centered, heart-aligned. She really cared for her guests, and it was a great experience. I was a guest on her show like 5 years ago, and I really enjoyed that. It was beautiful. I sent her guests, and they also had the same experience. So these are the podcast hosts I look up to. Maybe they're not the most famous one. Of course, I'm listening to Stephen Bartlett and Jay Shetty and all kind of marketing podcasts. And And I love those too. But I remember this podcast when I started and I listened to because they were amazing. So
Right.
yeah, Tammy's
Right.
podcast was amazing.
Yeah, she's 100%. I looked her up. I'm like, I know her. Like I knew the
Yeah,
name sounded
she's an
familiar.
OG in this
Yeah, OG.
podcasting world.
Yeah. And it's like I'll have a run of guests or even with my monologues that I don't get much traction from it. But I have my coaches and so just don't quit. Repurpose their content. Evergreen. She said evergreen earlier, and that's just what I had talked about, the ovarian cyst thing that I had written from the research I did that's still working. It's still out there. It's evergreen, and go back to those episodes where you don't think that there was much there. It could be there for somebody, but it'll also show your staying power. Like this week, I dropped episode 500, right? This Wednesday
Congratulations.
with Andy Andrews. He wrote The Traveler's Gift. That's the book. Him and Berg, those two books, The Go-Giver and The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews, changed my life. They like the whole story behind it's in the pod and all that stuff, but like it was consistency. Now I wanted to drop 2 a week, right? Like interviews a week, but consistency where you're seeing I should have over 700 podcasts if I was doing that since 2019.
Right.
Where do you see people lose consistency with their podcasts? Where do you see people losing steam?
As hosts or guests?
As a host.
6 is the magic number.
Is it?
Yeah, so many people, like after 6-7 episodes, I've seen this so many times that, I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to be out there and sharing my message with the world. And then they realize how much work they have to put in and how much money and energy and time and showing up day after day, week after week, month after month, even when you are tired, when you are sick or whatever. And it's a lot of work. So that's why I always tell my clients, so please respect the host. And it's so important because you're doing an amazing job. There's so many very good podcast hosts out there, and they're just not really respected for what they do. And hosts, they come to me, and sometimes they post on LinkedIn when I post something about it that, they never even thank me, or they never tag me in the post, or never reshare the content. I send them promo material to share with their followers, and they never do anything about it, which is sad because it's a win-win situation. If you get something, just share it. Sharing is caring.
It is. I love that. Sharing is caring. And you don't know, even if I don't have a following, you never know who's going to see that content that might need to hear what you have to say. And I'm a believer in God, okay? And God has given me an opportunity to say, listen, man, put it out there. I'll take care of things on the back end. Thank you for saying that. Just get it out there, stay connected, stay in touch. And Noemi, when you're starting to kind of work with somebody and you're making sure that it's the right horse for the course, the right company, your company is the right one for them. Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you, but never do?
That's a brilliant question. Nobody asked me this before. Maybe to ask like some kind of maybe a few personal questions from me as a human, so they get to know me better, not just like, how much is your fee? Because to be honest with you, Fergie, I hate is a strong word, I know, but I hate those calls when we get on a discovery call and somebody, so what's the price? Tell me the price, this and that. We didn't even say hello properly. So let's get to know each other, because to be working together, I think it's really important to ask some questions from somebody who you will work with on long term, like what kind of person they are, or just really listen to them, because sometimes they just want to know a price and they disappear, but they don't really bother to get to know me as a person. Who's this person behind this business? Because if they ask me, I'm happy to share.
Yeah, if knowing what I know now, I would be like, so tell me your protocol. Like, what do you do for me? Like for this, and what is expected of me to make sure this is a successful partnership? Say something like that. And I love though that you ask. So I'd be like, I'm a big believer in the FORD acronym, FORD, Family, Occupation, Recreation, Dreams. If I know those 4 things about anybody, I can help them 100%. When I go to networking events, I use the FORD I look around, I read the room. And my biggest compliment that I can get at a networking event is when I walk away, them go, what the hell's that guy do? Like they don't know anything about me, but I know enough about them to want to be connected to them. I go out to my car, I write a handwritten thank you note because I've gotten your card. when I send it to you and ask for like a one-on-one. But
Yeah.
everybody's rushing to that.
Rushing,
Yes.
not taking
Rush.
that, not being
Yes.
present. Take your
Right.
time, ask the questions,
Yes.
because they always remember the person who asks you the most questions, because people don't ask questions. They just tell maybe like a whole novel about themselves, what they do, but they never ask the other person. And the one who asks, those the ones they remember.
Yes, 100%. That's no, and thank you for saying that, because I'm going to plug me again. But they'll be like, for you, when I met you, it was like it was all about me, and I'm like, oh, that's a huge compliment for me, right? It's like like you and I, when we first had our talk, it was like almost a competition for who could get to know the other better, right? So I know you're an awesome networker. Like, you're asking me questions. I was like, wait a minute, I wanted to ask you that. So like, squad, get out there and get to know the people. When you're setting up your podcast, if you're going to go that route, know your audience, know your avatar. I have a 4-page avatar of who my listener is, right? And I build it around that. Does the show make sense for this, for my avatar? And it changes. I rewrite. His name is Larry, and I rewrite little things to add to him. So I have to ask you, Noemi, have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the Double Deuce, the 22-year-old Noemi. What might you drop on her for knowledge? Not to change anything, because you have a beautiful family, you get to travel, stuff like that, but to maybe help her blast through or break through in her business life, maybe a little bit quicker.
Yes.
Shorten the learning curve, I should say.
Yeah, don't stress too much and don't overthink everything. Don't overanalyze everything, because I was always stressing about something up
Okay.
till age 40. And after age 40, something switched in me. I'm 46 now. It's not a secret or anything. And it's something switched. And okay, so most of the things we are dwelling on, they will never happen ever. It's only in your head. It's
Yes.
not going to happen. So that's what I teach my son too, is just relax. Don't dwell on things that haven't happened and they have
Yes.
0% chance it's happening, because
Thank
I was
you.
always stressing about everything. So yeah,
Yes.
please just chill.
It's like Mark Twain had a quote that says something like, yeah, I've stressed over a lot of things in my life, but 1% of them happened.
Exactly. That's it. That's how
right?
we live our lives.
It's funny because me and Susan, my fiance, were watching this show Landman. We like it. It's a fun show on TV.
Right.
And at the very end of this last season, he's talking to his wife, and he's, babe, like, we're gonna hit a lot of tragedy coming up because they're getting older. I noticed I'm gonna be 54 in 2 weeks, and I have more deaths that I faced than births and weddings and stuff like that.
Unfortunately,
but today we don't have to worry about it today. So live every day, right?
Yeah.
And know it's a gift, right? So how does, and speaking of that and being a gift, how does Noemi want her dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life and death date, that little dash, like if someone was standing up talking to you, hopefully it's way down the line, talking about you, what do you want them to say?
That she loved people and she cared about people, and people felt seen, heard, and valued in her presence.
Love it.
And that's all. I don't need more.
Yeah. No, that's all. That's beautiful. Like, yeah, almost like I could ask you what your why is in life, but I think really your why is probably the same as mine. Like, you're my sister from another mister, right? It's like we want to be useful, right?
Yes.
I think that's our why.
That's it.
It's so easy for me to answer. Fergie, what's your why? To be useful. What can I help you with, dude? You know what I'm saying?
To help
If I can
people,
help you,
to add value to people's
Yes.
lives. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, Noemi, what is your definition of a life well lived?
Yes. Being happy,
Yep.
being loved, being seen.
Everything you said you wanted to be remembered for.
Exactly. That's it. That's exactly the same.
I love it. Hey, Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back. And Noemi, like Susan and I always talk about going to Greece or over to Europe and stuff like that. And if we make the trip over, we'll give you ample notice, because one, we're going to need an awesome like kind of tour guide and stuff. But two, you and I will probably sit and have a coffee or whatever it's called there and probably talk about a few of these questions at length. But today, you have 5 seconds with no explanations, and I promise you that they can be answered that way. You ready to level up?
Yes, let's do it.
Here we go. All right, Noemi, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
That it was probably from Bob Berg again, shout out, that make people feel seen, heard, and valued, because
Love it.
that's how you lead life and business. That's
100%.
it. And you don't need more. So yeah.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I'm very consistent with whatever I do in life and business.
Love it. So if you see me like, yeah, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums, what book might you hand me that might help me shift my mindset that helps shift yours? You better say the one we're talking about.
It's always the one, the
Yeah.
go-giver, of course.
Love it. Love it. Your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Smileys.
Smiley?
Always.
Okay. Nicknames growing up?
It's Mimi. M-I-M-I, Mimi. Yeah, it's Noemi. And actually, my parents never called me Noemi in my life, because when my mom called me Noemi, I was in trouble.
You're in trouble.
So it's always Mimi. It's Mimi.
I'm Larry Scott when I was in trouble. I go by my middle
That's
name.
it.
Do you have any hidden talent and or superpower that nobody knows about until now?
I think I'm pretty open book, and I talked about so many things on podcasts, but I'm an artist, but you know that.
Yeah.
And I drum. You know that too, I
Yeah.
think.
I do. Yep.
Other hidden talents? No, I think these are. I do a service called. I started something close to my podcast, silent thinking sessions. So I held silent space for people.
Nice.
And they can basically a space to think without judgment and just providing a silent space for them.
Gotcha.
So but it's not hidden. Everybody probably knows about me now. So
Nice.
I'm an open book.
You're good. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
I can't play chess and checkers. Monopoly, probably.
Okay.
I'm an entrepreneur.
Go-to ice cream flavor?
I'm not huge in ice creams. I love sorbet.
Okay.
But if I can go for something, it's very good quality, like Belgian chocolate something. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. There's a sandwich called the Noemi Mimi. Build that sandwich. What are we eating? What's on the sandwich?
Eggs,
Nice.
like Parma ham and like quality stuff, like spinach, feta cheese.
I love interviewing Europeans because they have the best food, man. It's
or smoked salmon instead of the Parma ham. I like those stuff.
Smoked salmon and eggs is so good. Like,
Norwegian smoked salmon
with some capers on it. I like the capers.
Yes, I like capers too.
Love it. Favorite charity and or organization you'd like to give your time and or money to? Anything
about suicide prevention or anything about cancer, because I lost my dad to cancer and my granddad, my uncle, and 3 of my closest friends. So suicide and cancer prevention.
Thank you for that. Last question, and we can elaborate on this one, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I was born in 79, so the music scene, what I loved, it kind of the grunge scene. And that
you like the grunge?
90s.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, because it was the 90s. That would make sense. I was born in 72, and the 80s was like I graduated in 90. So it was like the 80s was my thing. But like the kind of grunge, like Nirvanas and Pearl Jams and stuff like that was played when I was in Iraq a lot. I'm like, who is this? There was no Spotify or nothing back then. You're like coming back to the States and going, everybody knows the music, but you're like, who is this? This is awesome. So I got introduced to that during that time. I love it. So, Noemi, how can we find you, my friend?
Please visit our website, which is podcastconnections.co, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anyone. It's Noemi Beres. You type my name there, so I'm there. I'm happy to connect.
In Squad, it's podcastconnections.co. If you're on Vimeo or YouTube, I have it on the screen and open. And just like you can see the co-owners between Noemi and is it Gabor?
Yes.
Okay. And Gabor. And with lots of awesome testimonials. You got her LinkedIn here, which is awesome. This is how I actually met her. You can look in the messages here. I can probably show you and see she's connected to the Gam Man and Laura Templeton and all my other awesome sauce podcasters, good friends of mine. But check her out. She has Instagram. She has an awesome YouTube. But again, podcastconnections.co, not com.co. So, Noemi, please do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Whatever happens in your life or in your business, it's just keep going. And that's my motto in life, because there's going to be hard stuff happening. And it's not always rainbows and butterflies when you're an entrepreneur. I restarted my business like 3 times. And I had to work when I lost family members and everything. And it's hard, but you always keep going. And that's it. That's what we do. That's what we do, entrepreneurs.
Love it. And Squad, I had so much fun sitting here with Noemi. I knew that I would, and I knew we were going to give you some awesome value. So if you're thinking about getting on a show, reach out to podcastconnections.co or just reach out to me and I'll make a warm introduction to my good friend, Noemi. Like she reminded us, listen to the show that you want to be on. Make sure it's the right fit for you. Build connections with the host of the show. When you're done getting interviewed, send a thank you card or even a nice email or reach out and say, hey, can I have 10 minutes of Zoom time with you so I can see how I can help your show? Be authentic. She reminded us, be authentic and be vulnerable when you need to be. She wants you to flex your podcast muscles, be consistent, put it out there. And because there's things that will come around that you've did years ago that might come to the surface because that gestation period, it's like an oak tree. Like you have tens of thousands of acorns on the ground, but only one of them is going to sprout to an oak tree. You got to make sure that you're fertilizing it, giving it the sunlight, whatever you have to do. Be that person for somebody. Be authentic and be that person for somebody. My good friend Noemi, she's planting trees. She's never going to sit in the shade of. What she's doing now and paying it forward is amazing. She does things for the intention, not the attention. She's out everywhere helping people shine, but she's not, look at me leaning against her Lambo or something. Like she's awesome. She puts out a silent thinking podcast. They go there. It'll be in the show notes to help you really reset and get your day done. And she will be remembered as someone that was loving, caring, seeing, made you feel seen and heard. And lastly, whatever you're going through, whatever happens, just keep going. Remember, everything's finite. Everything's going to end, good or bad. If I was to invite Noemi and her hubby here to South Florida, she's all excited. She comes here. Guess what? She's got to go back. It's everything good comes to an end as well. So overlap the goodness. Find things that you can do to make someone's life better. Find things that you can do to make yourself better while staying authentic. And Noemi, that's exactly what you do. You level up your health. You level up your wealth. You're absolutely just freaking awesome. And I'm so glad that we are connected. And I will send anybody and everybody that wants to legitly become an awesome guest your way.
Thank you so much, Fergie. And you are an awesome host. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Love your guts. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you'd like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.